Hello. This week's lesson was awesome. I really enjoyed the information that I got. Just jumping into it, both counseling sessions seemed very tried and true compared to what I've experienced personally. I have been in and out of therapy for the last 16 years. So I've really experienced many different styles and techniques of various therapists all over the US. I really, really liked the body language that Wayne Powell was demonstrating. I appreciated how he leaned in therapeutically and nodded his head to show that he was actively listening. One of the things that stood out to me was how he probed the client to dig deeper emotionally and find the root cause of her feelings without just telling her what he assumed or suspected might be causing it. She really had to look inward. He really led her down a self-realization path, which is so important to identify a person's feelings so that they can cope with the antecedent actions, what happened before the feeling they were feeling, the feeling itself, and then the consequences, good or bad, that follow after that. So, similarly, Dr. Michael Tackett really impressed me with the way he led the session. I think that he probed for the clients to dig deeper, but what really stood out to me was how he summarized what they talked about at the end of the session. So he just showed that he was actively listening, that he was engaged in their conversation, and he had her verify that he was understanding what her concerns were and that he didn't miss anything. So I think that that benefits all parties. It benefits the client and it benefits the therapist. That spoke volumes to me. I loved that technique because I realized that sometimes people feel like their needs are not being heard, even when people are listening. So I liked that technique. It really stood out to me. It's one that is not common from my personal experience, but one that I think is very effective. With that being said, I think that in this moment, I would benefit the most from Dr. Michael Tackett's services. In the past, when I first started therapy, I think that Wayne Powell would have been the best choice for me, but as a seasoned goer, as my dad likes to joke, I think that Dr. Michael Tackett's services just better fit with the needs of my current situation. I'm a firm believer that everyone could benefit from therapy, so I do love to go. I enjoy it. It's therapeutic for me, as it should be. So that's who I think would benefit me the most at this time. But with both counselors, I truly felt like they were both very warm, very genuine presences. And although, I think that I noticed empathetic understanding with Wayne Powell's session, I mostly saw it with Dr. Michael Tackett's. I think that all around, both of them really set a comfortable therapeutic environment for the clients, in my opinion. I noticed that there was a greater emphasis on the social functioning for both clients. But specifically with the first client, Stephanie, I noticed a lot of the significant life events. So although both of them did focus a lot on that social aspect, she specifically had just started a new job. So that significant life change for her was a focal point in the session. And I think that was really, that was a really good perspective to get. So this week's chapter videos, the textbook readings, they were all so helpful in just bringing the dynamic of a session from a counselor's standpoint into focus for me. I've been the client for so long, sometimes I think it's hard to separate what therapy has been for me in the past and what my career as a counselor will be in the future. I think that a lot of people just assume that counselors are just there to let you talk it out and be a good listening ear. But learning about all the different domains and potential areas of conceptualization was such a great resource just to better understand how much goes into each session, what every question means, what's the importance of this road, this path that we're going down. And I mean, so many different aspects of a person's life, their behaviors, their feelings, their emotional responses is based off of their past. And so understanding them as a person, their culture, their personality, the way they grew up, the people that they enjoy being around, what things are they interested in, those are so important in understanding how we can best serve them as counselors. So, as a counselor, I will need to break down these different domains so that I can really help my client confront what the underlying issues are, not just in one domain, but in many or all, just depending on the circumstance. But this week's lesson really reminded me of a verse in James chapter 1, verse 19. It says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger." And I think that's so important to just keep in the back of your head as counselors. We need to be a good, actively listening ear. We need to be slow and careful when we speak to our clients because they have to trust us, feel comfortable with us, and be slow to anger. Obviously, we don't want to upset the clients, and we want to make sure that all of our intentions are pure and good and for the benefit of the client. So I really enjoyed this week's topics. I learned a lot, and thank you. Have a great day.